train will stop if it sees your car on the tracks. It will a mile after it hits you. Stop trains can't. Nick Swisher in 30 minutes. He's absolutely outrageously funny. Baseball season starts today. The Yankees are absolutely loaded. So listen, there's about 6-7 teams in the NFL that need quarterbacks. I still think Denver could draft one. Arizona needs one bad. Buffalo needs one bad. Jets need one bad. There are a handful of teams. Cleveland obviously needs a quarterback. So, I mean, it's great. There's like 7-8 teams who have a great quarterback. Another 7-8 teams have a really good quarterback. But there's some teams that don't have a quarterback they really are going to go out and tell inside a room, that's our guy forever. And so you got kind of the gold-plated guys. We all know who they are. And then the silver guys, Matt Stafford, Joe Flacco. And there's guys down there that teams would rather have somebody else. And some of them we absolutely know. Some of them we don't know. Could you get the executives, Jacksonville, in a room and really press them? Is Bortles who they want in 8 years? I'd guess no. Some would say yes. So quarterbacks run this league, coaches and quarterbacks. Here's the good news. Sports goes in cycles. Last 3 years, first-round quarterback, 7 of 8. Excellent to good to promising. 1, Paxton Lynch, appears to be a whiff. The bust rate is dropping. I'm not counting Dak and Kirk in the 4th round. Case Keenum undrafted. Derek Carr, Garoppolo 2nd. The bust rate is dropping. Take away the last 3 years and go to the previous 10. I'm going to go back to 2005 to 2014, and I will name the busts per round. 1, 2, 2. Skip a year. 2, 2, 1.5, 3. 2.5, 1, 1.5. It's like a 50-60% bust rate. It's coming down. Why? This is good news for Buffalo, Jets, Cleveland, Arizona. Why is it coming down? I've got a theory. The world of 7-on-7 football has exploded. The kids that are coming into the league now, Trubisky, Goff, Wentz, they've been doing no huddle, sandwich boards, had to call their own plays, 7-on-7 in the summer. There's more football. It is now a passing league, not a running league. And they've grown up in this at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now in college, they're throwing the ball 45 times. The bust rate is dropping. We had a decade where 2 out of 3 were busts. The kids just weren't ready. Something is now, maybe teams are better equipped to scout. I don't know what it is. My theory is 7-on-7 leagues have exploded in the last decade, and these 23-year-old Goffs at 16 and 15 and 14 had these leagues and drills that the Marinos and the Elways, who succeeded solely due to incredible transformative talent. Now, you come into the league, you've just thrown the ball more, seen more, called more, played more. That's my gut feeling. Ryan Leaf now joining us today in the herd, of course, a former top pick, NFL college star. What about my theory? The bust rate is dropping.
I like it.
Now, I don't have an answer, but I like to theorize some things. I'm just not seeing kids come in and look more equipped.
I also think it's because that the offenses are changing, right? So now collegiate offense is looking very similar to what the NFL is doing. 10 years ago, Tom Brady was in the shotgun 25% of the time, 75% under center. Last year, he was 75% in the shotgun, 25% under center. So it's becoming more like what the college game is. More RPOs, which is what the college game
Good
looks
point.
like. So I think that has a lot to do with it. You don't have to transform your game as much when you move to the next level.
No, Bill Parcells has always said, we are what college gives us. So what we've seen over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years is the NFL is doing a little college football. You know, Shanahan with RG3 said, we're going to run a college offense. Mike Shanahan, the old stately Mount Rushmore, we run the football, kind of did a college offense for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's an adaptation to it, right? So I think last time I was on here, I talked to you about Jeff Fisher and him imposing his will on Jared Goff, saying, I've been here forever, I'm going to do it, we're going to do it this way. And it didn't work. It was archaic. Sean McVay comes in and says, he's my best player. This is what franchise football needs to look like. So I'm going to adapt to what he's good at.
Right.
And we're going to be better because of it.
Yeah, I think that's the way all companies should run.
Of course. But for whatever reason, sports foundations, it's archaic in that way they think. They think that we've been doing this for 50 years this way.
You need to fit into our system.
We're going to continue to do it this way.
Golden State should shoot three-pointers. They've got finesse players who shoot three-pointers.
Right.
Okay, Ryan Leaf, NFL Draft Quarterback Rankings. This is not like any other board I've seen. Rosen 1, Darnold 2, Lamar Jackson 3rd, Allen 4th, and, oh, God, I knew I loved you, Baker Mayfield 5th. Okay, so I am being made out to be this villain on Baker Mayfield. You got a lot of NFL sources. You talk to a lot of scouts, Ryan. Give me the skinny. What are they saying on Baker?
I haven't had one scout or front office person tell me that he has a first-round grade.
Whoa, time out. You haven't had a single person tell you that?
I have not had one single scout or front office guy say he has a first-round grade. Now, that doesn't mean he's not going to get drafted in the first round because general managers and organizations have FOMO. They have the fear of missing out on a franchise quarterback.
I thought that was just for teenage girls.
Well,
my daughter.
Very similar for GMs in the NFL,
yeah.
You know? And so that's the biggest thing. The comparison that I'm getting all the time about Baker Mayfield is two people, right? Russell Wilson and Drew Brees. Height, stature, ability. That's the comparison on height that I get. And I'm like, neither one of them were drafted in the first round. And none of them have the red flags that he does, where he's being chased down by the Fayetteville Police Department,
right,
or grabbing his crotch,
right,
against Kansas. So why would you reach for somebody that, in your eyes, didn't even fit the bill of a Drew Brees or a Russell Wilson? That's my thing. I think that you could get him in the second or third round and not have to reach for something, but I just don't think it's going to happen. There's too much hype around what's been going on.
And there's also desperation. And desperation equals moving up in the draft.
Yes.
And we've got, Arizona and Buffalo. Ryan, you can't go into a division against Goff and McVay, Garoppolo and Shanahan, Pete and Russell, and say, we can pass on quarterback. Like, you have to get one.
You have to.
Okay, the Darnold thing, Rosen being drafted by Cleveland. Yesterday, Baker Mayfield's like, I love Cleveland. He sounds like a politician.
I know.
You're not into that.
Okay, so I've been taking this platform here for the past week on my radio show, and of course, I have a different perspective. I don't want anybody to your point, the bust rate's going down. I don't want anybody to be a bust. I want them to be successful.
Right.
And there's no evidence to show me that Cleveland is going to be successful. It's a place where quarterbacks go to die. How many quarterbacks in the last, 27 quarterbacks in the last 10 years?
Some of them, like Tim Couch, was really
Brady Quinn,
talented guys.
Yes, and if this is my perspective, if I were Sam Darnold and I have this leverage right now, and I know I'm going to be the first pick in the NFL draft, I'm going to my agent and I'm saying, don't figure out a way for me not to go to Cleveland. Eli Manning this for me, because tell me this: if he goes there and they triple their win total this year, right, and they win 3 games next year,
yeah,
how does Hugh Jackson not get fired?
He will.
Right. So now you have a new head coach,
and a
new system, and now you're behind the 8 ball even more. Everybody talks about what a great guy he is, personable, blue collar, but don't let that get in the way of you being successful. I don't know if you have the collateral behind you to do something like John Elway or Eli Manning did, and the scrutiny that comes upon it is so much larger now.
Yeah.
But what if he just plays 5 years there and is just mediocre because they never win?
Well, I'll tell you something, Ryan. You bring up an interesting point. There are very few Drew Brees stories where it doesn't start out well and you reboot your career and it works. He is one of the only ones, and I think he works because of Sean Payton. What if Drew Brees doesn't get Sean Payton? He's a Hall of Famer, right? He's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. For the record, he had 9 guys have ever thrown for 5,000 yards in a season. He's got 5 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how great he is. He's one of the only quarterbacks ever that was allowed to reboot his career, and it's successful.
And by choice. He was a free agent. So he got to choose that. If anybody wants to argue with me something, they may go with Peyton Manning in '98 when Indianapolis was down.
Right.
He came in and transformed that organization. Matthew Stafford, coming from an 0-16 Detroit team, coming in. They haven't won championships, but they've been better, and he's been the face of that franchise. So you want the mindset of your quarterback, like how Baker talks, is I could be the guy that changes the culture in Cleveland.
Yeah, but Johnny Manziel promised he'd wreck the league too.
Everybody has. I like the moves they've made. Dorsey's in there, Wolf's in there, the trades they've made. But I don't know if it's any of that. I think it's the culture. And I'm worried that he just gets lost in the shuffle like all quarterbacks have going into Cleveland. Now, if I had the leverage that he does now, where no one has that leverage until you're a free agent, especially first-round draft picks, I would be talking to my agent right now saying, hey, we can't end up in Cleveland.
By the way, NFL draft quarterback rankings, according to Ryan Leaf, you have Rosen 1, Darnold 2, Lamar Jackson higher than most 3, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield. The one that really concerns you is Josh Allen.
Well, that doesn't necessarily concern me so much as that that one is the coin toss, right? Because he looks very similar to, I'll use myself as an example, 6'5", 240 pounds, giant arm, very talented in college. I don't know if he's had the red flags personality-wise, but those weren't evident when I was coming out.
By the way, I remember, you didn't have red flags personality-wise.
No.
You didn't.
If you talk to some people within the organization, especially like our equipment manager, he was like, wait till you get a hold of our guy. He's, he's a different cat. My thing is, the 2 games I've watched on film on Josh Allen, I've watched his pro day as well. His pro day looks impressive, but everybody's pro day looks impressive.
Kyle Bowler was Joe Namath.
Yeah,
right?
my pro day was impressive. And the 2 games I've watched, of course, were the Oregon game and the Iowa game. The 2 games against Division I opponents.
I saw one of those.
And it wasn't good. He underperformed. He wasn't accurate. He didn't look like he belonged, and that's Power 5 conference competition. And it's not like the competition's going to get weaker where you're going. It's going to get tougher. And he threw for 1,800 yards last year. I mean, even when you play for a poor team and you're supposedly going to be a first-round draft pick, you throw for more than 168 yards a game in this day and age of college football.
There's no huddles. You have 65 plays.
Right. So that's surprising. Those are things that I think somebody gets him in the first round, and I think it's a good pick. You just don't know. The idea that what you just said earlier, there's 7 great quarterbacks in the league each year, 7 capable, right? And then after that, there's 18 guys that can be interchangeable,
and they need help.
And you're telling me that there's 5 guys in this draft alone that can be in that top 7?
It's a great way to put it.
That's
there's
difficult to understand.
7 great ones on the planet,
right?
And I'm supposed to believe there's 5 coming out of college this year. The chances are there's 1.
Right.
If you go back and look at it, and I did this about a year ago. We get a great one about every 3rd year. I'm talking like a guy that can pull, like Carson Wentz. Now, he got hurt, but Carson Wentz is,
yeah.
Like I like Jared Goff. I do. But Jared has Todd Gurley and a great left tackle. Jared Goff isn't carrying anybody. Last year, he was terrific. So was Case Keenum. Wentz, to me right now, the young guys, you're like, Andrew Luck came in 11-5 with an awful roster. It's about every 3rd, 4th year, Ryan.
And I believe there's one in this crew, and I believe it's Josh Rosen. I just think everybody makes the argument with him that he's the most fundamentally and technically sound guy. You could pick and place him in a system right now, and he'd get it done. So if that's what most people are saying about him, why isn't he the number 1 guy?
Okay, this is what I said to Clapp the other day. I said, take all the names out in the jerseys, and if I said to you, the most refined, polished, most accurate thrower who is the most pro-ready, and people now are dropping him to the 4th quarterback.
Yeah.
If you just say it out loud, polished, refined, smartest, NFL ready, best pure pocket thrower. Rosen wins all of those.
There's this definitive characteristic that accounts for him right now, that he doesn't love football.
Yeah, I don't know that to be true.
Either do I. I met with the young man before he was going to declare for the draft, and he loves football. He's just smart. He has broader thinking terms. He's watched somebody like LeBron James come up in this league, where you see a man who can be dominant at his sport and be an unbelievable businessman. Why can't somebody do that in the NFL that way?
You know who he reminds me of? He almost looks like him. He reminds me of Aaron Rodgers. There is a California coolness to him.
Yeah.
He walks into a room, and Josh kind of looks at it, and you can kind of sense with Aaron, and they kind of know they're smart, and they know they're smart.
He is the most self-aware of any of the quarterbacks coming out, and that is an impressive quality. I didn't develop that skill until I was 38 years old.
I did it last week, finally, at 53. Last week I became aware of how obnoxious I was. It really changed everything. Okay, he's Ryan Leaf. He's going to Augusta. When are you leaving?
Sunday morning.
Oh, Lordy. golfer, golf buddies, Ryan Leaf. Great having you on the show.
Thank you.
Shop Lowe's for great savings to help keep your lawn looking the best all year. Now, get Stay Green Weed and Feed Lawn Fertilizer, $15. That's it. Start at Lowe's. Offer valid April 4th is the cutoff date. Christine with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
Baker Mayfield gets a lot of criticism for his height. You've mentioned his height. What?
Between Isaiah Thomas and Baker Mayfield, I'm a heightist, is what you're
you
saying.
are.
I like big, strong athletes. I always have. If I have the choice of two athletes, I tend to like the bigger, stronger athlete. Like LeBron doesn't get hurt as much.
Okay.
Steph gets hurt more.
What do you think about Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson is probably... There have been 4 or 5 quarterbacks in my life. Steve Young is one of them, Michael Vick, Russell Wilson, who are so gifted athletically, they don't take a lot of hits. Mm-hmm. And I can't explain it.
That the size doesn't matter?
I just think Russell has this magical ghost-like quality where, remember the story that he came on our show and he said as a kid he used to go to the mall in Virginia and he would run into the people and he would play, and that's how he learned how to do it.
Right.
I think Russell's been smoked once in 7 years in the league. Nobody hits him. It's a magical quality. He is the complete outlier on that. I like big, strong quarterbacks.
Big, strong men.
Yeah.
Well, a photo now has come out of Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield standing back to back, and look at that. Baker Mayfield.
What phone book is he on?
Oh, come on. That was a good one. He is taller, maybe an inch or two taller.
Well, he's wearing heels.
He's not wearing heels, Colin.
You told me yesterday you're 6'2" in heels.
I am.
I could, and literally, you left the stage yesterday,
Yes.
and I followed you, and I was like,
For the first time, you noticed that I'm very tall.
yeah, I'd never noticed it before.
I'm 5'10".
Yeah, and yesterday I walked behind you, and I was like, you are tall.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I'm on this set, and I'm always looking
down at me.
Hello,
Yes.
Christine.
And hello over there. And down. Yeah. No, I'm tall. And but no, Baker Mayfield's taller than me. He's got it by a couple inches.
That's actually funny. I like that.
That he's tall?
No, I just think it's cool that he and Russell did that. Because people are asking about his height, and Baker's like, see?
Give short guys a chance,
All
you know? Isaiah, too. So Oklahoma City has 7 games left before the playoffs start, if they make the playoffs, because it's a really tight race in the West.
Yeah.
All the teams at the bottom, like 4 and down, are within a game and a half of each other. So they technically have a 97.5% chance to make the playoffs. But Carmelo Anthony is saying that you can go ahead and make it 100%.
We'll be there. We'll be confident enough to know that we'll be there. We'll see when that time comes, but I believe we'll be there. It's something that we planned on doing when we put this team together, and it's something that at the beginning of the season, this is what we was looking forward to. This is why we put this team together.
I can't take him seriously with that
No, but
thing that he's wearing.
Listen, I think he's right. I think Melo's right. Here's the one thing I'd say. And I know you like Westbrook, and I
do.
I admire his talent, but I do think he's a tunnel vision player.
Okay.
Even you would admit. Melo, Paul George, Steven Adams, Russell.
Yes.
If they don't make the playoffs, that is not a good look. You would
No,
admit.
but they're going to make the playoffs. They will. Right now they're the 4 seed. So they will. But they're only...
All right.
Like the Jazz, who are the 8th seed right now, are only 2 games back.
That's what I'm saying.
So there is some wiggle room. They're going to make the playoffs. It's just whether they're somewhere between like the 4 and 7 seed.
I'm going to tell you something. An organization we never talk about, and I tend to go to Utah a lot in the winter, and so I see some Jazz games. Mm-hmm. That is a good organization. I'm telling you, the Utah Jazz are a well-run organization, man. I get to see them. I've seen them play like 7, 8 times this winter. I'm home. I'm hanging out, doing some skiing, come home at night, turn them on. Jazz are well-run. I tell you, I wouldn't want to face the Jazz. Quinn Snyder coaching, I would want no part of the Jazz in the first round. No part of the Jazz.
Play the Jazz right now. The Clippers are not even making the playoffs as of right now.
You know, it's interesting, too, because the Clippers have some interesting pieces. They're actually kind of an interesting team.
So if the playoffs started today, the Thunder would play the Pelicans, which brings me to Anthony Davis.
Okay.
He has a unibrow, as you know.
Yeah.
And he has it trademarked.
Yeah.
And he is now considering getting rid of the trademark and he is proposing this to his friends on Twitter.
Okay.
He asked people if he should shave his brow, and currently it's about 50-50 on yes or no, but obviously if he gets rid of it, then he would need to probably get rid of the trademark because he no longer has the unibrow. I'm all for it because, I mean, I think it's a good look for him, do whatever you want, but like the greatest pop stars always change their look. Like Lady Gaga's different all the time. Madonna's different, rebrands herself.
LeBron's hairline moves up and down week to week.
Sure does. So why not just change your eyebrow hairline? Maybe a fresh start if he's feeling like he needs to change things up a bit.
Yeah, I think it's good call.
Do you
No, I don't worry about stuff like that.
So you don't even you have nothing.
I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth. I shower.
Thank you.
Outside of that,
you don't shower always though. You said
no, Saturdays I don't
you
shower.
Yeah.
But I shower 6 days a week. I brush my teeth twice a day, sometimes 3, and that
Do you floss?
Try to.
You try?
Well, sometimes. If you have a big old fat steak, I'm gonna floss.
Only then.
If I just ate vegetables, my wife's vegan, no reason to floss. I mean, what's going to get stuck in there? A smushy carrot? Nothing.
That will turn to something bad, I think.
Yeah. Christine with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line
Doesn't feel.
News.
Nick Swisher's around the corner. This will be a blast. Doesn't feel like spring without tulips. 30 for 30 deal. 1-800-Flowers.com code HERD. 1-800-Flowers.com code HERD. Best tulips out now. 30 for 30. Nick Swisher next.
Fries have been crinkled, curled.